Hey guys, Marijka, Milton Public Library, back with you again today for another batch of historical fiction books. So today I'm going to start with Stella by Starlight, and this book is by Sharon M. Draper. So this book's about Stella and her family, and they live in North Carolina in the 1930s. I think about 1932. The South is very, very segregated at this time. So, like, Stella and her friends have to walk a mile to school, and they pass by the white school, which is significantly closer to the house. They have to go through the back door into stores, if they're even allowed in stores. So there's lots of things that they can't do, and then there's lots of things that they can do, but with restrictions. And some people are okay, and some people are really not okay. Even through all of this, Stella has always felt relatively safe in her little town until one night. While Stella and her brother are out really late, past when they should be out anyways, they see down the way that the Ku Klux Klan is burning a cross on someone's yard. So very, very quietly and delicately, they get home without being seen, and they tell their father what they've seen. So their father goes to witness it for himself, and once he does, he decides something needs to be done. And now the Klan is starting to have a much more visible representation in their town. So the father and the neighbors in the Black community decided that they have to do something about it. But they don't want to really endanger their lives or the lives of their family. And hate is really powerful and really makes people do really horrific things. So they want to do all of these things, but still keep their families and their own persons safe and alive. So Stella's father and two other men decide that they're gonna vote. So now voting is legal for Black men, but it is made very, very difficult and almost impossible for Black men to actually vote, with poll taxes and tests and all of these different things, just anything and everything that any state or city can come up with that'll prevent Black men from voting. But these three people decide that they are going to register and they are going to vote. And this action really is not taken lightly by the Ku Klux Klan community and their supporters. So this book is a really good representation of hate and segregation that took place during the 1930s, but also like a really great story about people's resilience and dignity. So this is Stella by Starlight, and it's by Sharon M. Draper. The next book that I'm going to bring you is very, very large, but please don't be put off by that. This book is called Echo, and it's by Pam Muñoz. So again, this book is quite large, but it's really like 4 stories intertwined around one harmonica. So if you can get this book on audio, I highly recommend it, because they really do incorporate the musical element of this book with the words, and it's just truly amazing, and you will not regret listening to it. But even reading it is perfectly fine. So this book in the beginning is about Otto, and he's lost in the woods, and he gets has this like encounter with these 3 really strange women that tell him of this really rare harmonica and the prophecy surrounding it. So then we meet Frederick, Mike, and Ivy, and they are 3 children who are facing these like really horrific life challenges in the shadow of World War II. So in each of their individual stories, this harmonica is involved with them. So they're all in possession of this harmonica. And they're all leaning on music to really get them through the really hard times that are going on right now. So this is just a really good book about the power of music and a wonderful telling of history at the time of World War II, and it adds in some really fantastic characters. So this is Echo by Pam Muñoz. The next book that I have for you is called A Night Divided. This book is by Jennifer A. Nielsen. So the Berlin Wall has just gone up and overnight. And in that time, it has left Gerda and her family in two different spots. Gerda and her mother and her brother are on one side, and her father and her other brother are on the west side because they had gone to look for work. So now they can no longer return home, and life on the east side is really, really horrible. And the fact that the family is split up at such a really traumatizing time in their life, it makes it that much worse. So one day on her way to school, Gerda sees her father on the west side on a viewing platform, and he's doing this really odd dance, and Gerda's really kind of I don't know, just like she doesn't have any idea what he's doing or why he's doing it. But then a few days later, she gets this secret note, and it starts to all come together that her father wants Gerda and her brother and mother to dig a hole and join them on the other side of the fence. But as much as Gerda wants to do this, getting caught could cost them their lives. So this book is a wonderful read about the resilience of family during a time of crisis, and also a really good look at the history and the devastation and trauma that putting up the Berlin Wall caused to people. So this is A Night Divided, and it is by Jennifer A. Nielsen. The last book that I have for you today is Until Tomorrow, Mr. Marsworth, and this book is by Sheila OConnor. So it's the summer of '68, and the Vietnam War is raging on. So the draft looms over many boys and their families' heads. At least it does in Renee Kelly's house. Renee's mom just died, and her father had very little money, so he sent the kids to live with their grandma in Minnesota while he went to look for work in South Dakota. So because of their money problem, Renee's brother, Billy, who is all set to go to college, no longer has the money to afford it. So not only is he not getting to go to college, but when you don't go to college, it puts you in line for the draft. So if the draft calls his number, he has to go to Vietnam. So in order to try to save up money, Billy gets a job pumping gas so that he can save it to help him pay for college, and hopefully he gets this done before he gets drafted. So Renee and her other brother, Dare, also decide to split a paper delivery route in order to help him accumulate more money for college quicker. So Renee decides that she's going to introduce herself to all of their customers on her part of the route. So they all seem to take to Renee just fine, everyone except for Mr. Marsworth. So Mr. Marsworth will not answer the door, but Renee is not going to give up. She's not a quitter, and she wants to know why he's not talking to her. So she starts writing him notes. And as much as this really frustrates Mr. Marsworth, every so often he responds to her. So it's through these correspondence and this relationship that builds between the man and this girl that they start devising strategies to help keep Billy out of the draft. So this is a wonderful book that brings to light the effects of the forced draft in the Vietnam War had on families and people. It also really brings into light what real courage is, and then also that every story has at least two sides. So all around, this is just a really fantastic book. And yeah, so that book is Until Tomorrow, Mr. Marsworth, and it is by Sheila OConnor. So those are my recommendations for this week. I hope one of them piques your interest, if not more. They are available here at the Milton Public Library. You can give us a call or put one on hold using our webpage. So yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye.